What's up, guys, and welcome to my review for Damien Leone's Terrifier 3. This movie is hitting theaters tonight and tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this. Friday is the opening day, and it stars David Howard Thornton yet again as Art the Clown. And reprising her role from the second film, Lauren Lavera returns as Sienna. And after the second film, you might be wondering, well, how is Art the Clown in this movie? Did he possess Santa Claus? What's the case? And I think it's explained in a very understanding way. It's not confusing. You're like, okay, I get it. You can either buy it or you're not going to buy it. And I think that the great thing about this film is with that second movie as well, it continued to expand the lore of the Terrifier movies. In this film, you get to dive more into the backstory of certain things. Certain things are fleshed out, and you can understand them more. And I don't think it goes off the rails with some of the explanation. It's not like extreme to the point where it's like, okay, I don't believe this. It's to the point where, okay, as a supernatural type of thing, I get it. The second film and this film definitely turn to a lot of supernatural elements. Now, this film takes place at Christmas time. It takes place 5 years later. After the second movie, Sienna, her brother, are dealing with the events at the end of that second movie in their own way. And now, when she's sort of back in town with her aunt and her niece and all that, she senses that the story is not over, and Art may return for his revenge. Now, this movie is what Halloween Ends should have been. And honestly, there's aspects of it that are very much like Halloween Ends. I think that movie took place either 4 or 5 years after Halloween Kills. So, with a character like Laurie Strode or Sienna in this film, I just feel like the way that they took it in this movie made a lot more sense, and it worked a lot better than what they did with Halloween Ends. I think this is the better version of that story, and I feel like this film fully rounds out this trilogy. There's a pretty prominent character that appeared at the end of the second film that plays a pretty prominent role in this movie. I won't spoil that if you don't already know, but I think it works. And what was set up from that first movie, I think what he did with this was pretty smart. And again, Damien Leone taking the bigger budget, because the second film made like 14 or 15 million dollars on a budget that was under $1 million. So a huge success that movie was. This film, it's still lower budget. I think the budget of this movie I read was like 2 million or something like that. But regardless, this looks so much better and is crafted so much better than so many slasher films, current slasher films. Put this up against the slasher that came out earlier in the year called In a Violent Nature. This movie puts that film to rest. And Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton, yet again, is incredible in this role. And when you find out how he gets the Santa costume and how he becomes Santa Claus, I think that whole scene in this film is hilarious. It's so well acted, and it's just like you want to keep watching it. I mean, it's insane, some of the things that happen in this movie with humor. This movie has so much dark humor. It's probably the funniest of the three, to be honest with you. There's so many times that you're laughing when you probably shouldn't be, but just a lot of his facial expressions and reactions to certain things that people are saying is hilarious. Some of the best scenes in this movie, there's three. The scene in the bar, the scene in the shower. It's a shower sequence, it's a shower kill. That whole thing, it's teased in the trailer. You are not prepared for this. They take a kill that was done in the first movie and they max it out in that scene. I mean, it was incredible to watch. I'm a sick individual, I understand that. And then the scene in the mall, which is also teased in the trailer, to where he is taking Santa's place and he's getting up on the seat and he's having kids come up, and just how that all plays out is pretty shocking, to be honest with you. But this whole film, like, it just worked so well for me. Now, sure, there's things like there were in the second movie that were like, okay, that's a little that's a lot, but I'll still buy it. You know what I mean? For what they're setting up. This movie, I don't think they go as extreme as that second movie, but it's still stuff that's like, okay, I get it. There's one thing that happens. I'll just say somebody gives somebody a gift, and when you start to think about it, you're kind of wondering, how did this person get that to give to this other person? How in the world would this person have gotten that? If you can let all that go, I think you're going to have a great time with Terrifier 3. Now, if you're not a fan of really gruesome slashers and you're not a fan of this series, maybe don't watch this because it is really extreme. But, like, I'm a fan of this kind of stuff, and I loved watching it. It does take a little while to get going. I feel like the pace in the first act of the movie is on the slower side, but once things start to really pick up and the story really starts to take shape, by the end of the film, the third act of this film, the whole final confrontation sequence, there are things that happen that had me queasing. I was like, this isn't going to go the way I think it's going to go. It's going to go much worse. And it was really disturbing in the best ways possible. I think this is my favorite film of the Terrifier trilogy, and I hope that we're going to get more. And guess what? We are going to get more. Because before the movie even came out, they confirmed a Terrifier 4 is on the way. And they set the pieces. They played their part well, and the way that the film ends certainly sets up for an exciting future with this series. So I'm giving Terrifier 3, that's right, the same rating I gave the first two films, 4 out of 5 stars. But guess what? This is my favorite of the series, and then I don't know, it's a toss-up between 1 and 2. But I think this is a great slasher trilogy, and I can't wait for the future. And I was so prepared with the experience to watch this with the Terrifier 3 popcorn bucket and the soda cup, which I think the merchandise for this was just so awesome. It's so awesome to have. And I also have an Art the Clown Funko Pop. But after this movie came out, and after everybody's going to see it, you have to put a Funko Pop with Art the Clown as Santa Claus. I mean, you're going to make a ton of money if you do that. So, guys, Terrifier 3, that's my thoughts. But comment down below. Did you see the movie yet? What's your thoughts? Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Tonight, I also did a double feature, where before this, I saw the movie Saturday Night, which is the Saturday Night Live film about the first 90 minutes leading up to the first live show of that. So I'm going to be reviewing that Saturday night. Why not? And a bunch of other stuff coming in the future as well. We've got Smile 2. We've got spoiler reviews of The Penguin, episode 4 coming Monday, and a bunch of other reviews up on the channel right now. Guys, you can follow me on Twitter and or X at RyanKing72 and Instagram and TikTok at KingOfRises131. That's been it for me. Thank you so much for watching my review for Damien Leone's Terrifier 3. And until next time, over and out.